Good evening, everyone. Welcome to today's meditation session. Thank you for being here to sit together, to meditate, to explore the mind together, to understand the mind, the world a little better. We talk about the truth, but any truth is beyond description. We can use words to describe it, but it's fraught with distortion. Unless you can go beyond language to get the point, to feel it, to observe it in your mind. The whole process of this observance, the whole process of understanding what is meditation, is meditation. Of course, there are so many different forms of doing meditation in different branches, schools, traditions, culture, so many forms to relax, to calm down the nerves. However, in this session, we rarely talk about forms, because there are so many forms. It's beyond enumeration, because there are too many. The point is not to choose which form. The point is not to ask how to meditate, because when you ask how to meditate, actually you are asking which form should I follow. It can be a question, but it shouldn't be a question in focus. When one knows what is meditation, one will never ask how to meditate. When we are only curious about how to meditate without caring about what is meditation, then the very focus on the form of meditation is not meditation. Because any kind of form can distort, can mislead us when we don't know what is a meditation. But when one really knows what is meditation, any form makes sense to him or her. If you know what is meditation, you will find your form that makes sense to you. So let's talk about what is meditation. But you shouldn't expect to understand it from what I said. If you have any expectation of understanding meditation from what I said, you will be disappointed for sure. Because what I'm talking about is far away from what is a meditation, because it's beyond description. It's beyond any verbal communication. And this part seems to be mysterious. Actually, the mind is always looking mysterious. Especially when we encounter all kinds of mental challenges, without realizing the true issues behind it, then we have this kind of a mystery, the mysticism, or whatever you call it. We devise all kinds of religions, faiths, philosophy, in the hope that we can live with this mystery, in a way to escape this. But is that really mysterious? I think that's a question we need to ask, to question it. Without looking at the true issues, without looking at the facts and the truth of the mind, any confusion can be reduced to mystery. The escape from all kind of this kind of stuff. But if one really looks at the mind, one may find that nothing is really mysterious. The very way to look at the mind at this moment, non-judgmentally, just clear all the mystery. There's only a clarity. To understand what is meditation, one has to be serious about this question. Actually, it's about one's mind. To go into it without being trapped by that. Then there's a possibility to understand what is meditation. It sounds mysterious, right? It's mysterious because it's beyond any verbal communication. But when you really look at it by yourself, it's there. So let's meditate by looking at the mind, by understanding what is meditation. So as usual, before we go further on this topic, let's keep silent for about 3 or 4 minutes, during which one can reflect how many moments of the day one was not present, or simply focus on the breath to quieten the mind. Then, after that, let's come back to the session. Today, let's talk about proper focus. How to focus properly. It's a very core question of meditation. What to focus on, what not to, is a matter of wisdom. As you observe the mind, you might have noticed that the mind is so easy to get stuck in something. The mind is so easy to be distracted. The mind have so many different focuses, can switch between them. Many things can be so easy to become the focus. For example, all kinds of negative news are really attractive. See, what is focus? It's difficult to describe it in detail. But I think you can feel it, right? The neurons are always reacting to the environment, to other neural activities, like thoughts, emotions, words, whatever. So the mind is always in a dynamic change around all kinds of stimulation. But the focus is more about the consciousness. We can use example like the eyes to look at the people, things. When we really focus on the people, I think I don't need to explain more. You feel it. But there's still something like trees, other people, in your peripheral awareness. Because you can still be aware of those people, things, without focusing on them. It's only an analogy to the focus on the mind. Because, as I said before, it's difficult to really articulate, verbalize it. You need to experience it yourself. You feel it. One of common experience of people is that they are so easy to focus on thoughts. We call it rumination or whatever. Look at the whole world, right? The people just are divided by thoughts. Because people focus on different thoughts. And this very focus implies some sort of rumination, implies some beliefs that those thoughts are true. Of course, it is very limited to describe it in verse. The rumination implies the beliefs that those thoughts are true. It's not believing something consciously, but it's beyond your consciousness. When one is focused on some thoughts or ruminating on some thoughts, the reactions to these thoughts just entrap people. So all his behaviors, further thinking, is purely based on those reactions to that part, thoughts, or ideologies, whatever. This whole process points to that these people is believing those thoughts are true. It's very subtle, but it's there. It's that the problem is not about having thoughts or having no thoughts, because thoughts is the natural part of the mind, which can be triggered by anything, by any environmental or emotional factors in the life. But the true problem we are investigating, we are inquiring into, is that people believe thoughts are true when they are ruminating based on thoughts. And this kind of a subconscious belief, so to speak, is the key factor leading to the division across the people on this planet. So this kind of believing, when one is purely involved in the thoughts or identified with thoughts, and that very believing is the key to all kinds of divisions because of thoughts. It's similar to another topic. It's about pleasure. Is there anything wrong to have some pleasure? Nobody say it's wrong, right? Because everybody is deriving pleasure in different ways from different things. But one had to realize that pleasure comes from thoughts. And as we just said, the problem is not about having thoughts or not having thoughts. So the problem is not about having pleasure or not having pleasure. But when one is believing thoughts are true, the issue comes. When one believes thoughts are true, which means that one is really involved into the thoughts or identify with thoughts. One began to seek pleasure, demand pleasure. There's a very subtle difference here. Seeking pleasure, demanding pleasure. Not the pleasure itself. The very way to seek and demand the pleasure leads to all kinds of mental conflicts, not only within oneself, but across different people. Seeking. Seeking pleasure. So back to the thoughts. So we need to really query into this question. Can we interact with thoughts without believing that thoughts are true? Without believing thoughts are true means that we negate the thoughts, the function rate, psychologically. Thoughts are in any way unimportant. Thoughts can't be true. Thoughts are the activities of neurons, which is always temporary, dynamic, and fraught with the illusions. If some thoughts pop up, bring some pleasure, okay, I can enjoy the pleasure. Why not? But I know that thoughts or illusions are not true. And then the thoughts disappear, and I continue my life without seeking the pleasure. Back to the question of focus. When you focus on the thoughts, means the content of the thoughts. And then one is trapped by all kinds of reaction to the thoughts, which all points to the subconscious belief that thoughts are true. This also means all kinds of assumptions running through the head, all kinds of conclusions people are living with in their life. That's the belief system we usually mean. And that's what we mean by focus. The mind is so easy to be stuck in all kinds of details because the content of the thoughts and the reactions to the thoughts. Just like a moment ago, I was distracted by a rabbit that's just running past the door. And my mind began to focus on it until I realized that, okay, no, it's still in the session. But still, the rabbit is still there. He's running towards me. He's looking at me now. Okay, let's continue the session. So this is the focus we need to think about, to investigate. But now it's time for us to meditate, to quieten it down, to quieten the mind first before we continue the exploration about the proper focus. And let's still follow the audio guide to empty the mind. This moment, nothing is really important but breath. And to feel the power of the proper focus. Focus on the sensation, not the content of thoughts. By being aware of the whole and the mental actions behind the thoughts, which will come back to this after the session.
Hey.
Now, let's take a 10-minute meditation. Gently. Soften your forehead. Act a soft smile in the corner of your lips. Breathe naturally. As you breathe in, be aware that you are breathing in. Feel the sensation of breathing in. The region can be the nostrils, can be the belly, can be anywhere. Focus on the part you feel most. As you breathe out, be aware that you are breathing out. Feel the sensation of breathing out. The region can be the nostrils, can be the belly, can be anywhere. Focus on the part you feel most. Fix your attention on the breath. Let go of any thought, words, images. This moment, nothing is more important than breath. While you are listening to the bell, check where your attention is. If it wasn't on the breath, after the bell, gently invite your attention back to the breath and sustain your attention on the breath. Slowly bring your awareness back to this room. Feel into your body. Wiggle your fingers and toes. When you are ready, open your eyes. I hope everybody had calmed down the mind somewhat in the last 10-minute practice of the focus. The proper focus implies awareness. Awareness of the thoughts, all kinds of mental actions behind the thoughts, such as association, judgment, comparing, and so forth. The improper focus means the identification with thoughts, getting caught up in the reactions to thoughts. To have the proper focus, one has to investigate the whole process of thinking and thoughts. To understand the impermanence of thoughts, the illusions arising from thoughts. Then there's a possibility to play with thoughts without believing it to be true. The very way to play with the thoughts is to set free the mind. Not by having new thoughts, which is another illusion, but by the non-attachment to all kinds of thoughts, which means the negation of the thoughts psychologically. The mind is free, no matter where you are, no matter which society you are in, which kind of a society, which kind of mental construct the society is built up. If one's mind is free, it will be a different story, right? So to meditate is to investigate this question. Can we play the game without being into the game? Of course, one has to recognize what is a game. The very way to recognize this is a game is meditation. To recognize it does not mean that you react to it. When you react to it, you just want to avoid it. Oh yeah, I need to avoid this society. I need to go to a temple to be a monk. But this is not about a monk, because monk also have, if you decide to be a monk, not because of this reason, it's also okay, no problem, right? I just want to live a different life. But I can still live within this society. But I still choose now to be a monk. No problem, right? But if we just want to be something different, just auto the reaction to where we are now. Oh yeah, this society is terrible. All kinds of thoughts. I hate it. I need to be away from that. Then this very reaction imprison people in different ways. So you just move away from a trap and then walk into another trap. That's not freedom at all. So let me repeat the question. Can we play the game without being into the game? Can we empty our consciousness at each moment while still biologically, physically function in the time and space in the society? The mind is free no matter where one is. But the mind won't be free no matter how hard one seeks freedom in all kinds of ways. The very seeking just put people into a different prison, but it is still a prison, isn't it? The true freedom is only when it's feeling free. When the mind is free from all kinds of reactions, free from all kinds of beliefs that thoughts are true. To really accept where we are at each moment, play the game, but the mind is free in the infinity. That's also the essence of taking care of the soul of the body. This concept is very, very, very popular in the Asian countries, to take care of the soul and the body. But actually the essence is very simple. How to live a life without distortion in such a distorted society. The very way to return, to cure, to heal the distortion on the mind is to take care of the soul and the body. Is to meditation, is to meditate. As long as your mind is not distorted, it's free from all kinds of distortion, you are free, is it? You are truly free, are you? The very way you keep your mind intact, the very way you keep your being whole, the very way you keep your mind free from distortion is the most powerful. Live life totally holy is the most powerful way to protest. It's it. It's the most powerful way to influence this world positively. When there's a new action, so then when there's a non-action, that's the most powerful action ever. Non-action does not mean no action. Non-action means an instinct based on the nature of mind. So, you see how chaotic the words can be to describe this part, the meditation. But now, by now, we can simply see how to live a life without distortion is to meditate. It's meditation. And the very way to live life without distortion is to be a human as well. We can't really deny this fact that there are no other species on this planet like human beings can live such a distorted life. It can be amazing. It can be a satire. It's up to you to interpret it. But it is. So, thoughts is not an issue, but being into thoughts is an issue. When we really understand the whole structure of the thoughts, we understand what is life about. And that's the basic content of today's session. Focus. Thoughts.
Hey.
And anything to say, Bob?
I have a difficult time focusing, but I can, throughout your speech, you mention proper focus, and but I currently don't have the overview of the rest of the story you told. So the things apart I can remember, but yeah.
You don't have to remember anything, Bob. You can just share what you want to share.
Okay. Yeah. It was quite a challenging event because I have a hard time focusing. Also, when I meditate, but because I feel like I lose touch or feeling inside my nose, and I don't think it has to do with Corona, but yeah, it's just a lack of right focus. But yeah, I think it will get better again.
For sure. It will, for sure. I think everyone have some difficult time occasionally.
Yeah.
And it's quite common because the neuron works in a way we don't know, right? Because sometimes we have good day, sometimes neuron just work in a way we just feel difficult to steer, and just be with it. It will. Each day is a new day. So today you feel not very good, doesn't matter, and just be with it. Don't ruminate on that. Don't judge it. Just non-doing. And then next day, let the mind to refresh. Mind can mend itself, actually, right? We know that. When you have a sleep, when you rest, the mind can mend naturally. You really go beyond good or bad. Each moment is the best moment. Stay with each moment is the best way. Probably is the only way to take care of the soul, or the mind, the body. So for this session, I don't expect anyone to focus on it. You don't have to focus on it. If you feel not very comfortable, that doesn't matter, because the mind, the inner side, is the thing that we really focus on, not my words. My words is nonsense, to be honest. It's true. It's true. If we don't understand our mind, these words just nonsense. So please don't feel any guilty about this kind of stuff, or something. The mind is always in a dynamic change.
Yeah, sometimes I try to catch the train of thoughts, and you're a bit faster, or I lose a part of a sentence, and then you do extra. But in fact, if you notice that, it means it is what till now, and then you can jump in the next moment to to hear a new sentence.
Exactly, Bob. You don't need to catch any sentences. You just listen to at each moment. To be honest, what I have said has a lot of repetitions, so you won't lose anything.
Sorry, what did you say?
So what I said actually has a lot of what I said has a lot of. So
Yeah,
actually,
that's
if
true.
you just keep listening,
But
don't just catch the sentences.
In fact,
Yeah, it won't lose anything. So So I think from my experience, the best you lose nothing. Nothing to lose, to be honest. Really nothing to lose. Because that's true. That's also the challenge to spread this part to people, because it's easy for people, also for me as well, to get stuck in the words and languages. And then we began. The point is that, can we go beyond the languages? Even probably today you don't feel very good to focus on these sentences, but the thing is that, can we let go of these sentences? Just look at the mind. The truth is only at this moment. No matter how you feel at this moment, that's the whole content of the truth. Great. Thank you for everybody being here tonight to have such a wonderful session.
And people. Um, yeah. I- I wish you yeah, good courage for the next week, and good health, and and maybe see each other next week again. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob, and thank you for everyone being here. And hopefully we can see each other again in the future sessions. Bye, everybody.